Sup shitters, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named King Young titled Traffic Light featuring Timmy. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves the video on the screen, and we're going to be listening through this track from start to finish. I'm going to hear what you think. Let's go. I don't think I've listened to the... If I have listened to them, it's been a while, so... yeah. Great atmosphere to it. Damn, that transition with the video was smooth, man. Okay, lots of vocal parts. Really nice resonance to that bass line, nice sidechain kicks. Okay, I'm digging the vocal modulation as well. It's nice and melodic. Fits well with the vibe and the genre that we're participating in.
Diamonds on me dancing, do you see the light? And I can show you heaven if you spend the night. Like you ain't gotta die to baby, live your life.
Oh, okay. Sick. Nice. All right. So we've got a bit of wordplay in there, a little bit of sexual innuendo. Nothing wrong with that, you know. Really calm, chilled vocal performance here in relation to everything else, very confident. I do like the motif at this point. I'm wondering if we're going to develop it further, so like bring in some new chord progressions or bass lines or something like that.
Booty tight, sheen, double jumping when she get that ass in. Dumb loud, backwoods, get the choking when she let that gas in. Kill the pussy, murder scene, deep stroking, trying to break her back in. Cut this off, Mr. Water, cook the dope, and let's get this crack in. Plug talk, switch connect, real shit, I need me a better price.
It's nice to have the more sort of traditional sort of percussive rapping style here. I don't mind the clean vocals for a hook, don't get me wrong. But it's also nice to have this kind of stuff as a contrast to kind of pad out the track and kind of add a little bit of intrigue.
Bitch, look nice, cute face, nice lip with them devil eyes. Drunk sex, good drugs, bad days. Shorty said I need a better life. Groupie hoes, junkie plays, trap jumping. I never had a better night. School, do you see the light? Diamonds on me dancing, so you see the light. And I can show you heaven if you spend the night. Like you ain't gotta die to baby, live your life. Traffic light, we gon' do the dashing if you see the light. Uber shawty, oh no, she can't spend the night. I said Uber shawty, oh no, she can't spend the night. Traffic light, stash out on the gases if you see the light. Uber shawty, oh no, she can't spend the night. I said Uber shawty, oh no, she can't spend the night.
Okay, so we're repeating this hook. And I know that's what we're doing. I'm just wondering if we're going to get more to it than this. I don't mind it. Don't get me wrong. Like I know we do have a habit of sort of like repeating the hooks and the sort of main lines in here just kind of get stuck in your head. It's what a sort of catchy single,
I got loose screws, loose screws. I got loose screws, loose screws. Hot bitch saying big bad, big get. That's that get back. Still the bitch for the bitch, yeah. Just forget back. Chicken players counting up, nigga. Yeah, them big rats. Call the plug, love the plug, yeah. He bring me good threats. Pick up, drop off, yeah. She take her top off. Cruise around, hit the town, nigga. I'm getting topped off. Bust down, throat down, nigga. She get my rocks off. Put me like a pussy. I'ma show you that I'm not soft.
Okay. Traffic light. Green light, red light.
Pass me a light, I'm trying to catch a vibe. Rolled up the line, I'm trying to catch a high. Gripping on her hair while she grip on my thighs. What a time, nigga, to be alive. Traffic light. We gon' do the dashing if we see the light. Uber shawty, oh no, she can't spend the night. I said Uber shawty, oh no, she can't spend the night.
So is this literally about driving, or is it the traffic light? It's like euphemism or something like that. Is it literally about like driving around with the girl that you're with and sort of like not taking any sort of anything from anybody and just having a good time together? Is that it? because I'm just trying to connect like what I hear about the traffic lights and everything like that. I'm trying to relate it to them, like with the nurses and the food and stuff like that in the video. I'm just trying to connect it, whether I'm missing something. I might be confused. There might be sort of an inside sort of. She can't spend the night. So, like, is that the red light and you're waiting for the green light or something like that to go at it? Okay. Okay. I have questions because it's the conclusion of my review of this track. Traffic Light from King Young featuring Timmy. Okay, how do I feel about this track? I think this track was about sort of the interaction and sort of like situation that the people were rapping and these girls have. Looking like at the diamonds and stuff like that. Look at like the stuff they've got on their wrists and everything. Like talking about racks, like making that money. Again, the sort of traditional sort of like, don't sort of think I'm like weak because I'll show you how weak you are kind of vibe at one point. And like the driving sort of like thing, I think is a like kind of the journey you're taking with someone and knowing when to sort of back off, when to go into it. That's the best I can kind of make of this track. I don't know if that makes any sense. Maybe I'm just missing something really important. I could be wrong. But that's okay. I think the rapping behind it, not only the clean vocals that were going on alongside sort of more those two verses that we had, I think one from King Young and then another from Timmy in the second rack. I think it was great to listen to. They've got really interesting voices, like for the most part I heard sort of understood what was going on, the scoot part was kind of playful and sort of onomatopoeic, we had lots of different backing vocals as well to kind of fill up the sides of the stereo field as well to make it sound nice and full. Within hip hop and rap you kind of do need that sort of size and focal point being the vocals, so I'm glad that we continued with that. At the same time though, I'm also glad that the vocals knew when to back off a little bit and make room for the rest of the accompaniment, like the bass and the synths and the drums and everything like that. I think that was really cool, really great balance there, self-awareness. And I like the fact that they each had a verse each. I think that was really cool to not sort of like cut the featured artist out, let them spit their truth, man. Let them show off their highlights, and it's a great collaboration. There wasn't really a vowel or a syllable out of place. You could easily identify who was who from the different flows that they had, and it was a really catchy vocal melody on top as well. I'm probably going to have that sort of I can't sing, right? But they can, so that's they're good. But yeah, the motif behind it sounded really chill and calm and confident, and it was great to hear it. I think that it had a sense of had a sensuality to it, had a kind of a sort of a weird intimacy to it. It didn't sound like, it sounded like we were being careful and cautious, but also that we were chill and we knew exactly what we were doing, if that makes any sense at all. It was really kind of it was quite soft, like in terms of backing, right? Like in comparison to a lot of because I review lots of different types of music. But I think that the basses filled it out really well in the low ends, Again, we didn't have a lot of heavy percussion or anything like that. I don't think it would have suited the overall vibe of the track. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't really know what we needed to change from that accompaniment perspective. At 3 minutes 47, it was enough to sort of allow us to have a real reinforcement and repetition of that chorus line for a lot of the track. And then, of course, you had the two different verse parts as well as bits where it was simply instrumental, just to set the scene and the mood and the vibe of it, And even then, we didn't have any intro core at the start. We had the vocals coming with little chop parts, and that was cool. That was cool, I understand that we don't really want the listener to become bored or disinterested. We need to get them familiar with who's sort of singing or rapping pretty soon after it starts, so that's okay. There was a sameness for the motif, kind of continued throughout the entirety of the track. We had bum, 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 regardless of the harmonies or melodies that we had throughout the other instruments in the mix, including the different vocal overdubs and stuff. And, I think that we just got away with it. I think that it really helped that we had a different vocalist to kind of take us out of the sameness. And this isn't a bad type of sameness. But when you have one singer or one vocalist and they're consistent throughout with a lot of their vocal technique and their range, even if they're doing rapping as opposed to clean vocals, sometimes 3.5 minutes can be a little bit too much if the chord progressions and bass lines and a lot of the instruments are exactly the same. So again, to have Timmy in this track was really important. I'm glad they did that. Again, they contrasted it, kept it engaging. And I there was no filler within this track. It was, in my opinion, it was sort of verging on if it had more of the hook. but they knew when to stop and bring in something new. So I'm really thankful for that. And we didn't really commit to an overall sort of emotional sort of response from the track whatsoever. I think it is just about staying open-minded and sort of being there and focusing on the other person and showing them the light, you know. And it's you know not you know what I mean. You know what, showing them the light without them having to die. You know what I mean. The production, recording, mixing, and mastering was good. Sounded professional. It sounded commercial grade. You know, there's plenty of little bits of vocal modulation. The effects change, the reverb and delay they had on that, alongside the filtering of the vocals on the side, was really good. Both vocalists sounded if their vocals were well recorded. They had a great crispness to them, and there were no weird resonant frequencies there. They sat well on top of the arrangement. Again, those synths, the basses, the drums, and everything like that. No real complaints about the way that the instruments were treated. It was nice and wide in the stereo field. Again, no resonances overall in the frequency spectrum. And, you know, there was a clear sidechaining of those kicks to kind of keep things nice and constant. There wasn't a massive amount of change in the dynamic range, though. I think if you've got a track, especially for passively listening to it, you don't really need to have that much sort of massive changes in the dynamic range. And limiting compression of it was great. Honestly, like, I'm really happy with this track. It was a good first impression of what King Young. I get the feeling I might have listened to them before, but if I have listened to this in a while, it's good to hear King Young anyways. And to me, with Traffic Lights, this is effectively my review of this track, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you had, please do check out the various social medias and the YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spider Hands out.